Thanks for tuning in to GTO Good Old Boys. Buckle up and enjoy the show with your host, Paul Ponder.
Hey guys and gals, I'm Paul Ponder. I'm the host for the GTO Good Old Boys podcast today. We appreciate y'all tuning in tonight and giving support to GTO Good Old Boys. Well, we've got some good old boys and a good old gal here tonight. We got Miss Kim Horton and Mr. Tim Horton. We're going to cover a lot of things with them, and we're going to find out who is Tim Horton and who is Miss Kim Horton, because behind every good man there's a good woman, aren't they, Tim?
Oh, I promise you that, no doubt.
I'm telling you, and this is one of the best right here. Kim, how did you and Tim meet?
Well, we actually grew up in the same small town. Our families kind of knew each other a little bit, but I actually knew his aunt and her family better than I did him, and until we kind of got to know each other. But so we've just always grown up around each other, I guess. We actually grew up about 5 miles apart.
Really?
Yeah.
Your whole life?
Yeah.
And then it took that long to get back
I'm
together?
telling you, man, you search and you search and search, you're like, bam, there we go.
Yeah.
You know?
Where did she come from, and where has that woman been?
That's exactly right.
And y'all have 5 children, correct?
We do.
3 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that is great, and they're very well taken care of, I know, and they're good folks.
They
very
are.
good folks.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. We're blessed from that standpoint, and they're all different. It's amazing. It's like a litter of puppy dogs. They're all,
Yeah, they're all
different with different personalities, and they're great kids.
That's great. What's the secret to a good marriage, Kim?
Oh, me. Patience.
That's for a woman. I want the woman's side of it. We know the man's side.
Yeah.
I think looking at the bigger, it's anything in life. I think looking at the big picture. Don't sweat the small stuff, and looking at the big picture. And one thing that Tim and I have, he knows I am Team Tim. Like
Right.
Whatever we've got to do, we're partners in a marriage, and we're partners in business and parenting and everything we do. And we've got each other's backs.
Exactly. And the same for you, right,
Yeah,
Tim?
I think Kim hit it there. We all. I have a saying. Kim hears me say this all the time. We all, as people, see things from our own perspective a little bit too much, and I think it's not easy to step back and see something from someone else's perspective. And it's in business, it's in relationships, it's in everything in life, parenting. And I think you have to put that hat on sometimes, that you have to say, okay, what is that person seeing there? And I think that's the way to be successful with everything.
No, that sounds like a winner. And y'all do have many, many businesses.
We do.
Cover a few of them.
Yeah, I think Kim would knock my knee out if I suggested us doing another one. But we do. Kim kind of runs our Profound Outdoors, our fishing lure business. We have my television show. And we have Willow Oak Lodge, and Willow Oak Lodge is a new one for us, but it's a big one. It's a monster.
It's beautiful.
Well, from the standpoint of how much time it has taken from us as far as getting the logistics worked out, that has surprised us a little bit, but it's been a good surprise. But yeah, we stay hopping for sure.
Right. My daughter and her boyfriend got to come and do a turkey hunt with y'all, and that's all she talked about for a while. And thank y'all so much for making her feel like part of y'all's family.
Well, we love Eden and enjoy having her with us out there.
Yeah, she's a sweet young lady. I'm a little partial, but
Yeah.
you know how it is.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Well, that's how you have a good marriage, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what we're going to talk about now is Tim's career in fishing. He retired this year, correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So that's how many years of fishing professionally?
I guess I did it 23 years as far as on the pro tour. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, prior to the pro tour, let's go back that far. BFLs, the small BASS tournaments, things like that. It was sort of tough for you to finally get that win or get where you felt like you could really go.
Yeah, I guess even back in what we called the Redman days, which was pre-BFL era, and the Bama group, the state of Alabama, has some of the most unbelievable local dominating anglers. And when you showed up at Lake Martin, you better look out for this group of people. When you showed up at Gunnersville, it was this group, and so it was probably the most competitive hardest tournaments to do well in that I competed in, even getting up into the pro level. And I think that's a big help. So, it's just like you talk to kids playing, travel ball, you're going to play up to your competition. And I tell parents that all the time. And I tell people wanting to be a pro angler, set yourself up in divisions and leagues that are going to be extremely competitive, and you may not do as well as in the beginning, but I think it pays off in the long run.
Well, what gear did you kick in from going from that to when you hit in 2000, and all we heard was Timmy Horton this and Tim Horton that?
I think it was such a tunnel vision that I wanted to do this so bad that it's kind of like you're fighting and you're clawing and probably not having success early on in those local state deals even made me more hungry. And then when it started clicking, I just gained confidence. And, we see it so many times. You look at what Dustin Connell's doing right now, and we see it where when your mind opens up and you gain that level of confidence. I think it's so overused when we talk about being in the zone, but I think it opens your mind up so much that you're so confident. You don't get spun out if it's not going good right off, or you don't get caught up if you're having a bad day, because you feel like you're going to make it work one way or the other.
Right. It's nearly a must. In other words, you're not going to fail.
Yeah. I explained it one time, and I know the reporter I explained it to thought I was crazy. This was in like 2002. I won Angler of the Year in 2000, but I think my better years were from like 02 to about 08 as far as just like feeling like I was dialed in. And I said one time it was almost like the water was removed and I could see underwater what's going on. It felt that good to know that I'm going to pull up on that point and they're there, or they're in that lay down and not that one. And here's why. You just get to where your mind opens up that strong, and it's a neat feeling.
I bet it is. I bet it's a real neat feeling. Mm-hmm. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've got Miss Kim Horton here, Mr. Tim Horton. We're fixing to go on a little break, and we'll be back, talk some more fishing from Mr. Tim. Thanks a lot.
We'll be back with more GTO Good Old Boys after this. Now back to more with GTO Good Old Boys.
Hey guys, we're back with Kim and Tim Horton, and they were gracious enough to come by and give us a little bit of their wisdom and their talk. And but we're going to go a little bit more into fishing. What was your most memorable point or most memorable time in your fishing career?
Most memorable time, I would probably say the win I had on the Potomac River, and that was in October of '99. And at that time, I was. That's the famous, I guess, the story of where I ordered a bunch of cheeseburgers and kept them in the room because McDonald's had 29-cent cheeseburgers on Tuesday. But winning $100,000 at the end of that week probably was just from a financial standpoint of saying, hey, I can do this,
Right.
Because pro fishing is a catch-22. You're not going to get to sponsors until you do something big. But you have to do something big on a big stage, which costs money to get there. So you really have to financially plan everything out and be as conservative as you can starting out in where you put your finances. So I would say that win. And then probably from the fan standpoint, probably Lake Champlain, the coming in and eat pizza early win. I hear about that one all the time. So that one was pretty cool.
What happened on Champlain? Tell us about it.
Well, that tournament, I had a pretty big lead, and I was running down to Ticonderoga every day, which is an hour through what they call they call Lake Champlain the inland ocean because it's so big and it gets so rough. And I felt like once I got down there, if I caught a good bag, I was going to come back because I felt like that was the only way I could lose. And I didn't want to break down or have something go on. And when I got back up north, it was about 10 o'clock, and I decided, man, I may end up fishing in an off-limits area on accident and running a wake because I had not practiced on that part of the lake where the weigh-in was. And so I decided my best option was just come in and check in, and I did. And it's funny because the camera guy, he goes to get out of the boat, and Trip Weldon, tournament director, says, hold on, you got to stay in the boat. You can't leave. You're his observer for the day. And he's the one that actually ordered pizza, had the guy bring it down on the dock. And I guess the unique thing about that day, this was when ESPN owned BASS. And they somehow had the programming, and they went live to SportsCenter in the middle of the day, showing that. And it was kind of the comedy of it, of the guy kicked back, laying on the boat at 10 a.m. eating pizza. But the fans loved that, and it was a pretty cool story.
Did it seem like it took forever for the weigh-in to get there?
Yeah, it did. It was a long day, but anyway, it was pretty cool. It was a neat moment.
That is sweet. That is very sweet. Well, that sounds like you've had some big times during the course of your career.
I've been very fortunate. Yeah,
that's it. What about winning Rookie of the Year? How was that?
Yeah, that was cool too. That whole year was a whirlwind, and just got on a roll, and a lot of confidence and working hard, and that was pretty neat.
All right, you mentioned sponsorships early. I'm sure that you talked to a bunch of folks as you were coming up. I don't know how you planned your professional career as far as fishing, with your dollars. Mm-hmm. What happened? How did you get your sponsors? How would you tell folks today, a young kid starting out that's all he thinks, eats, breathes, and sleeps, is what does he need to start doing now?
Yeah, there's a big misconception for a young angler, like if they go to a Red Crest event like we just had this past week down in Birmingham, and you see all these guys walking around with logos on your shirt, and you're thinking, man, everybody's paying everybody all this money, and it's really not the case. But it can be done, but you have to do it the right way. The best advice I was ever given was from Clark Wendlandt. I fished with Clark early on. I was probably 22, 23 years old, and I remember Clark telling me, man, just concentrate on the fishing, work hard on the fishing, and the rest of that will take place. But at the same time, as far as sponsors go, coming to them or them coming to you is first of all, believe in the product, because that's going to create the longevity. The product has to be legit, it has to be good, and it has to be something that when I tell my fan base about it, that they're going to go get it and they're going to have success with it. And I think that's the biggest thing. And Kim works with a lot of our sponsors and keeping them updated. I think is a big part of it as well.
Do y'all have a big sponsor base?
Yeah, Kim, I'll let you touch on
Kim,
that.
you touch on the sponsors for us, because, hey, he knows when to sit down, doesn't he?
Well, I mean, we still have a lot of great partners that we work with on the television show, and that's one of the aspects of the job and working with a television show that I enjoy the most, are the people we get to meet, and the fishing industry is all very, very connected. And so, sometimes you work with somebody over here, and then we're working with them over here now. So,
right.
But it's a community and just good folks, and we really enjoy the people behind the products as well.
I know you do, because you make me feel like $1 million, and when I call, and makes me feel good to spend money with you.
Well, good. Well, good.
So, Tim, you need to pat her on the back for that.
Hey, there's a big thing to that. We talked about that on the way over here, about good energy. And when you deal with companies and you deal with people, and she'll say the same thing about you, Paul, but when you deal with people that are good people, you want to do something extra for them. You want to go the extra mile. You want them to win. And I think that's the biggest thing to being successful in business for any young angler, is if you look at it like, what can I get from them? You're going to fail. You have to look at it like, if I'm going to represent this company, I want that company to win, and I'm going to be a part of that. I'm going to be a part of helping them be successful. And I think that's the biggest thing you have to do. And about 2 or 3 years ago, we started transitioning a lot of our contracts from the pro fishing side over to the television side. And that was a big key in us, maintaining, Bass Pro Shops and Mercury Outboards and a lot of the companies that I've worked with for over 20 years. And then a neat thing that's happened, we've transitioned Willow Oak Lodge into a hospitality portion of it, and so we're marketing companies like Bad Boy Moores, and they're into the television show, but they're also entertaining folks and doing different things at the lodge, and using the hunting side of it from that aspect of it as well. So it's just a big conglomerate that we try to do to make it all work.
Right. Now, how much time do you spend on the lodge?
A great deal.
That's what you don't. Do you do the cleaning?
I do a lot of the cleaning.
Ooh.
I do, at this point, I think all the cooking.
Yeah.
No wonder they're coming back.
It's funny. We have staff that comes and helps us when we don't have big groups. A lot of times Kim likes to do it ourselves. But what we have found is the people. And when you're there and you're interacting with the people, and Kim is such an unbelievable chef. It's amazing. It's just,
We like being very hands-on with that. I mean, we meet the best people
Yes,
that come
you do.
through, and it's a lot of fun. So we enjoy being hands-on at the lodge.
Good people bring good people.
Thank you.
So that's a hats off to both of y'all because y'all work so good together. Sounds like Tim knows when he needs to say, okay, it's time for Kim. And Kim's the same way. And guys,
Tim is the big idea person. He's the risk taker and big ideas, and I'm the logistics and make a plan, execute a plan.
that's right.
Yep.
Well, say a little bit about the difference between BASS and an MLF. We got about a minute.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool that you see guys making a living on both leagues. My favorite part about Major League Fishing is catch, weigh, release. I really think that's an important aspect that we're going to figure out technology on that for the weekend anglers too in the future for the health of our lakes. And from BASS, I love the history. I love the what's going on with Rick Clunn this year and the 50 years of bass fishing and all of that. So. A lot of positive momentum for anglers coming up wanting to get into pro bass fishing.
Well, that 50 year is just like a 50-year anniversary, 50 years in bass fishing. Hey,
Yeah,
it's momentum.
it is.
Just keep it going.
It is. It's really cool stuff, and I've retired from it all as far as the pro fishing side, but I still watch it. I was a fan when I was competing in it, and I'm sure enjoying being a fan now.
I bet you are. You know how it feels sitting there, don't you?
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got Tim Horton and Miss Kim Horton. We will be back after a short break to finish up. Thanks a lot.
We'll be back with more GTO Good Old Boys after this. Now back to more with GTO Good Old Boys.
Hey guys, we're back with you with Miss Tim Horton and Miss Kim Horton, the motor behind the motor, I guess
Yes,
is what you
for
could say.
sure, no
That's
doubt.
it. Well, Miss Kim, we want to cover Willow Lodge because that's one of your newest ventures, and we would like to know some upcoming events or things that y'all have got that y'all are proud of. Promote it. I mean, bust it loose right now.
Okay, all right. I'd love to do that. We're, of course, booking whitetail hunts, for the 24-25 season. Turkey hunts are coming up. We got a few slots left there. And of course, we always do our corporate events. We have a lot of companies that book and, send their team or customers out. We entertain them, either hunting, fishing. We do some skeet shooting, wildlife tours, and everybody can stay in one site and have their meals, meetings, and all of that. Another thing we have coming up is a fireflies and fish fries.
Yeah,
Did I
that's
say
pretty
that?
cool.
It's kind of
Fireflies and fish fries.
and but that's when we have all the families out. The kids, they go out and they set the minnow traps out in the creeks, and
Oh, man.
and then they come back and roast s'mores and catch fireflies, and then the next morning they go out and check their minnow traps, and then go to the crappie pond and catch
Oh,
crappie.
man.
And it's so much fun. It was one of my favorite things we did last year, and seeing the kids. I think that is needed with families right now. People
Yes.
our age. We got outside and got dirty, and my mama
Right.
didn't know where I was.
Exactly,
Most of
right.
the summer, and kids just don't do that now. And so the parents and grandparents, we even had grandparents that brought
Yes.
grandkids, and they really enjoyed seeing them get outside and just get dirty and have a real good time.
Right.
So I'm
And-
excited about that.
And a lot of people think that you can't fish if you don't have a boat. Well, that's crap.
Yeah.
Some of the best times I ever had was on the bank, whether
Yes.
it be on the bank of the lake or the pond. The pond is what I really remember. And you bringing those back, I can just see me. And, with family and friends, fishing can be fun.
yes.
I mean, you build your memories, and that's what I think Willow Oak Lodge is doing. And guys, that's something that y'all need to grasp and watch for. How do you become a part of that?
So the best thing to do is always, keep a check on our social media. That's where you get the fastest updates. And We have a telephone number, 256-815-3391. I had to think for a minute.
Exactly.
And then, and you can always email us from the website. I mean, all of our information is on the website as well, and it's visitwillowoak.com.
That sounds great. And saying that, you talked about the website and this, that, and the other. Back when you started BASS, there was not many websites or social media. Tell us the difference in how social media has become a part of what you do now with television.
Yeah, everything is instant. And I think that's one reason you're seeing anglers so successful at 20, 21 years old now. They have access to so much information. But to answer your question, back, in the early 2000s, if the way you got publicity out for your sponsors was to do well in the tournament, and then it came out on the television show or in the magazine several months later. So it was an instant. Now, if we've got a hot product or if we've got a lure that's doing really well, we can go out and shoot content and have it up that afternoon, or even do live events, through social media. So it's really changed it. But it's neat. It's so cool to be able to bring that information instantly to the fans. When we film a television show, for example, television's a little bit different. You really have to have your time codes cut. You have to have your edits cut. So that's a systematic approach to getting the media out there, and that's usually at best a month delay. Most of the time, it's going to be several months. But from a social media standpoint on all of the channels, it's an instant deal. That's pretty cool.
Sponsors through social media, there's got to be a big difference. Sponsors are not looking for what they were back 20 years ago.
Yeah, used to 20 years ago to represent a brand or a product or a company, you had to do well. I mean, you just weren't going to get covered just because you had something going on. But I think what you're seeing now is guys having success on the water, creating that credibility, creating that following, and then representing those brands from that standpoint. So now it's not necessarily from our standpoint, we're big on education. I want someone to be able to watch our show, be able to go to their lake and put those applications to use and be able to catch fish. And everybody has their different niche. Some people's into comedy, some people's into kind of being out there from different standpoints. I really love the Bill Dance model. Bill Dance, I loved following Bill Dance growing up. And I think, like when I got into turkey hunting, for example, I was late in life getting into that, and I wanted to absorb as much as I could. So I watched shows that were educating me on how to be a good turkey hunter. And now that's what I try to do. I try to put myself in a position, if I'm watching Tim Horton Outdoors, if I'm watching Timmy Horton Outdoors, I'm going to learn something. And that's what Kim produces the show, and that's what we really try to do from that standpoint.
Wow, that is unreal. What's the most memorable deer hunt you ever been on?
Most memorable deer hunt, man. I've had some fun ones. Probably some of the most memorable ones happened at the lodge. My deer hunting now is through guiding customers, and I can remember having Mr. Eaton, Captain Dave.
Oh yeah,
and he was a retired military guy, and he and I were hunting this deer called what was the name of that? Crowbar. Oh. And it was just a memorable hunt, and him telling me stories. He's hunting with his dad's old rifle, and he was retired military and just a wonderful individual, great storyteller. And we had trouble getting this deer. It wasn't coming in, and we thought it wasn't going to happen, and that deer come out all bristled up, and it was just one of those memorable hunts. But also great hunts with the family. Livy's getting into turkey hunting, and her and I had some great hunts at the end of the year last year, and just some of that. But it doesn't matter if it's fishing or hunting, and that's why that question is so good that you asked, Paul, because that's what it's about. It's about the memories that you create. Fireflies and fish fries is basically about watching a bobber go under, and what kid that's 5, 6, 7, 8 years old that doesn't move them, their sense of wonder, So that's the best thing about hunting and fishing is the memories that we create.
I think they enjoyed the minnow traps as much as they did the
last year. Yeah.
Well, it's a hands-on. Let's get in the water. Mama don't want to say, I'm going to miss Kim. I can get in the water. So, but that gave me chill bumps on that about watching the bobber go under. My excitement with that and the positivity that is produced with the outdoors.
It is.
I mean, it don't matter if you're hiking. You can find something fun and positive to do.
Exactly.
Working with Bass Pro Shops for over 20 years now, Johnny Morris Johnny Morris is one of the most amazing individuals. If you really get to know him personally, to be over a mega brand like Bass Pro Shops and Ranger Boats and Nitro and Cabela's and all of it, you usually think that that's a domineering type personality,
Right.
and that's right the opposite of him. He is a humble, almost a little bit of a bashful person, and it's so appealing. But his mind, he knows how to create emotion. He does it through his stores. He does it. He takes every mural and every mount so personal in his stores, because when he wants when people to walk in, they may not be hunting and fishing that day, but he wants to stir that same emotion, and he's learned how to do that in an amazing way, and I think that's why he's been so successful.
Well, let me tell you, I have had a fantastic time. It's always special to see Miss Kim. She's prettier than you, Tim.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
You know, I've just got to say that. Let me shake your hand and tell you how much I appreciate y'all taking the time out of y'all's day to come by and talk with us. And guys, y'all heard it. We're doing it. And y'all get out there and get your lines tied, or sit out there and watch the deer move, listen to the turkey gobble. Get out in the outdoors, and if something's bothering you, go outside and have a good time. Make it positive, and have a friend with you, or
Yes.
a family.
Yes, no
Right?
doubt.
Absolutely.
Y'all have a great day. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.